This is The Fifth Estate, a conversation between young African scholars from the Fort Hall School of Government and Professor Mutahi Ngonyi. Opinion is divided at the Fort Hall School of Government over Uhuru's VAT. One group is violently opposed to the VAT on fuel and the way Parliament bulldozed it. This group believes that Uhuru could have handled it better. That although Uhuru should be bold, he should not be bullish. According to this group, VAT on fuel is a poisoned tree, and the fruit of a poisoned tree is also poisoned. If Uhuru experiences political turbulence, the VAT poisoned fruit is the original sin. This group is emotional. It stands with the hustler nation. But the second group stands with Uhuru, and it is a little arrogant. To them, they would rather be led by a lion than by 100 rats. They would rather be led by a lionized Uhuru than the shenanigans of 100 rats in Parliament. To this group, the end justifies the means. So long as Uhuru got what he wanted, the means of doing it are irrelevant. The hustlers should get a life and move on. Consider the two arguments.
I stand with the hustler nation, and my stand is informed by the story of a young king, his young advisors, and an overtaxed population. This is the story of Rehoboam, the son of King Solomon in the Holy Bible. When Solomon died, Rehoboam became king. Then the people pleaded with him to reduce taxes. The yoke was too heavy for them. The new king asked for 3 days to decide. During the 3 days, he went to the Wazers that had advised his father. The Wazers told him to reduce taxes and promise that he shall rule the land with kindness. But Rehoboam was not convinced. And so he gathered his young advisors, the young nobles he grew up with in the palace. The young nobles told Rehoboam, "Tell the people this, my father made your burdens heavy, but I will make them heavier. My father beat you with whips, but I will sting you with scorpions. My little finger shall be thicker than my father's waist." This excited the young king. He increased taxes, unleashed scorpions on the poor, and his little finger of oppression became bigger than his father's waist. And then his kingdom collapsed.
I stand with the hustler nation, and I stand against the little finger of oppression and the tax scorpions unleashed on the poor this week. Like Rehoboam, Uhuru should not have ignored the cries of the people. In fact, he should have read the Song of Lawino, a poem by Okot P. Bitek. In this poem, Lawino tells her husband this: "I do not need your big ideas, although they are great, and I do not need your dreams, although they are fancy. All I need is for you to remove the obstacles before me." And like Lawino, this is what the hustlers are telling Uhuru. Yes, we need to do the big four. And yes, we need SGR and big projects. But these big dreams are obstacles if we cannot feed our children. What is our point here? Uhuru's incompetent advisors have turned him into a Marie Antoinette. This was the French queen during the French Revolution. She was out of touch with the people. When the people came to her palace demanding for bread, she told them, "If you have no bread, eat cake." Is this what Uhuru is telling us with VAT?
I would rather be led by a lion than by 100 rats. I would rather support a bold and bullish Uhuru than be ruled by 100 rats in Parliament. I disagree with the Marie Antoinette story. In my intelligence, it is insulted by this song of Lawino. Using the two stories to make a case for the hustler nation is both interesting and original. However, the original parts are not interesting, and the interesting parts, they are not original. The lies about China colonizing Kenya are interesting, but they are not original. Someone is pushing this narrative. It is not a Kenyan narrative. It is not original with Kenyans. What it is a big, fat lie. On its part, VAT on fuel is original, but it is not interesting. Kenyans want devolution. That is original. But taxing them to support devolution is not interesting. They want children to have laptops. That is original. But raising money for the laptops is not interesting. We have a new constitution. That is original. But financing it is not interesting. We have a dilemma, people, and to get out of it, what we need is a lion, not 100 rats in parliament.
In 2013, I told the country this, that it doesn't go wrong, it starts wrong. And this is true in romance, in war, and in politics. It doesn't go wrong, it starts wrong. And this VAT fiasco will not go wrong, it has already started wrong. It is a poisoned tree. The fruit of a poisoned tree is also poisoned. When Mzee Moi introduced VAT in the 1990s, there were riots, alright? Parliament went amok, drama, razzmatazz and walhalla. So there is nothing new. What we have in Parliament today is the same forest, different monkeys. Moi monkeys, Uhuru monkeys. However, Mzee Moi handled his VAT crisis with decorum. Instead of force, he used seduction. Instead of lies, he used religion. And instead of arrogance, he used more lies. But on his part, Uhuru has used nothing but clinically incompetent people to handle this situation. And clinical incompetence is actually a disease worse than corruption. My thinking. But if Uhuru's methods are wrong, it does not mean that he has no point. When we chose a bad constitution, God gave us a freedom of choice. However, he did not give us a choice of consequences. We cannot choose the consequences of a bad constitution. A bad constitution will have to give you bad VAT. You have to live with it. It's that simple.
And now, our final thought. It is for Uhuru Kenyatta. This week, Uhuru used coercion and not persuasion. He forced his way. He did not negotiate. Instead of charm, he used the fist. And because of this, he lost, although he won. Yet persuasion would have given him more than coercion. Let me explain. Once upon a time, the wind and the sun had an argument over who was stronger. Then a traveler passed by wearing a coat. The sun declared to the wind, "Whoever forces the traveler to remove his coat is the strong one." And so the wind offered to go first. With all its might, it blew at the traveler angrily, demolishing his coat. But the more the wind blew, the tighter the traveler held to his coat. After many aggressive attempts, the wind gave up. Then the sun took over. Its rays started as warm seduction. Then they got very hot. The traveler had no choice but to remove his coat. The sun won. Like Uhuru, the wind used force. It lost. The sun used persuasion. It won. Maybe Uhuru should consider persuasion instead of the force of demolition, etc., etc.